Hey everybody, welcome to another CNC Q A Podcast. Hope everybody had a good Christmas, holiday, Hanukkah, whatever it is y'all celebrate, and of course, a Happy New Year. I had a good little hiatus and watched a ton of football. So let me bring my sidekick in here. Let's see, I think I'm going to do it this way. We'll just go this route since
Ooh.
it's just the two of us. So how you doing, Ryan?
Doing all right, man. Keeping busy, that's for sure.
Yeah. Christmas light season went well, I guess.
Yeah, in middle doing takedowns now.
Okay, all right.
Thankfully, they go a lot faster.
Yeah. Now I know you said a job or two you were doing some permanent lighting.
hmm
How many of those out of all the ones you did were where you don't have to go back and take them down?
this year, well, right now, from since November 1st till the last one that I did, it was like three of them.
Okay,
So,
okay.
yeah,
Now is that something you're going to try to push so
yeah.
that so you just do it one time.
Well, it's a lot of people when they do these the temporary seasonal lights like that. After a couple of years, they're like, "Well, we keep paying to do this. Why not do the
Yeah,
permanent ones?"
yeah. And
But
plus,
some people don't like them. Like so they have a different look to them. So some people like the big bulbs. And
yeah. Now, don't with the permanent ones though. Don't you have or offer a programmer type thing where they can use them for like
yeah,
4th of July and all that kind of stuff?
oh yeah. It's got a controller. They're all individual, addressable LEDs and stuff. So you could literally make every one a different color, or you can make them kind of dance or do different patterns and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
yeah, you can do whatever you want with them. Like on my house, I the first house I ever put them on was my house, and so when it's not a holiday, we I do accent lighting. So like I have a couple peaks on the front of my house, and so I just light up the tops of the peaks and then right in front of the front door, and um, I don't have like a lamp post or anything out front, so we use that as our lamp post.
yeah. Okay. All right.
Sorry if you can hear the 3D printer in the background going crazy.
I cannot hear it, but
Oh, okay, good.
yeah,
It's back there doing its calibration thing, and
yeah,
all of a sudden
yeah,
it was.
yeah. They are they those P1S. They are a little loud sometimes, but
Yeah,
they're such an awesome printer. I
yeah,
swear. I every time I print something, like I printed something today, and it's like when it got done, I pull that plate off, and I'm just amazed how perfect
yeah,
every single print has been.
yeah,
So
yeah. I'm doing my most complicated print right now, and it's a file that's on Maker World, and it's I think for only like another day or two. Then I guess the creator's pulling it off of there. But it's a dock for a Nintendo Switch. So, but it looks like it's got like pipes and it's got Mario and stuff like that. It's pretty cool looking.
okay,
But it's 25 separate prints.
ooh,
Yeah, or plates of prints.
yeah,
There's lots
yeah,
of little pieces.
that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah. So
All righty.
we're printing stuff out.
Okay. Well, in case anybody's wondering, you see, I'm all bundled up out here today. Uh, and I know, I was telling Ryan, I said, I know I live in the South, but sometimes Mother Nature she gets drunk or something. I don't know what she does. we actually have a winter storm warning, which for Atlanta that means some snow and sleet and ice and stuff. Nothing like what y'all have in the north, but still, it's a big deal for us because we're idiots down here and don't know how to drive in it. So, but anyway, that's coming Friday, I guess. So, uh, even these last 2 or 3 days, it's got down. Well, last night it got down in the 20s. Tonight it's supposed to get down to a low of 23. And of course, the wind is howling pretty good too. It's doing 10 or 15 mile an hour, I guess. And I have that wide open football field right over there, and the wind always comes from the west, it seems. So, there's no slowing it down. I always get the front of that. So I'm bundled up. I've had the heater on, and according to the thing over there on the wall, it says it's nice and toasty out here. But I can tell you, this concrete floor really radiates that cold. So,
Yeah.
and I'm a wuss on top of that. But I just bundle up. But anyway, I thought that since it's the new year, a lot of new things happen in a new year. So I thought we would kind of go back to some basic stuff and talk about some common mistakes that beginners and other users, I'll include myself in that mess too. The common mistakes that are made, and maybe give you all a few tips on how you can avoid some of those. But before we do that, let Ryan talk about what he does on his Saturday night gig.
Oh, geez. Well, thank you, sir. Yeah, Saturday nights we're doing Making It Up As We Go. It's a weekly show, and it's about the latest in CNC, laser, and 3D printing, videos that are out there. And we have a good time with it, and also like whatever we're working on at the time. So it's a lot of fun. Come join us and have a good time with it. Usually, sometimes there's a story about me hurting myself or getting into some precarious situation.
Yeah, and you just wrapped up the challenge. I see that went pretty well.
Yeah. We had some good people in there this year, and gave out a bunch of good prizes. Nemo Labs, I see them out in the chat. They were kind enough to give us some great prizes too, and yeah, there were some pretty cool projects this year.
Mm-hmm. And congratulations to all the
Yeah.
winners and participants in the Christmas challenge. That was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's. I know I see Russ Meadows out there in the chat. Russ, and everybody else, if you are, well, it doesn't really matter whether you're a new CNC or not, put down in the chat what is your probably most common little error or mistake or whatever you want to call it. What's the most common thing you do? And while we're waiting for some of those to pop in, I'll ask my buddy Ryan here. When you're running the CNC, and especially when you first started, what was one of the things that you always managed to muck up?
Not setting my zero. Z0 is always
Okay.
getting started, getting too excited, and not always forgetting to zero out to the top of my project that I'm working on. So
Okay.
I would always get the X and Y done, and then it's like, all right, let's go, and
Yeah. Yeah.
whoops.
Yeah. And it takes you what, about 0.23 seconds to know when
Yeah. Then you're like,
you
no,
forgot that.
whoops. You got the time for that Z to go up to the top to go start going to wherever it's going to go, and that's about it. And sometimes
Yeah,
I'll stop it
there.
even if I did it and go, all right, did I do it? Let me do it again just to make sure.
Okay, Earl says
Oh,
he's
nice. Yeah.
got his Pixel CNC.
The Pixel CNC.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the things that Earl chose as his prize from the challenge. It was a Pixel CNC is a design software,
Yeah. Can't wait
That's
to see
really
what
cool.
Earl does for them.
Yeah.
All right, Russ says I sent the bit clean through the project board and spoil board. Scared the crap out of me. Okay. Well, it happens. You
Yep.
know, it happens. Um, I think, and like I said, I'm going to include myself in that group too, and not just the beginner. But my problem now is, even though with all my experience, my memory sucks. So I forget stuff. Uh, so, which is the
Like,
same thing as just not knowing it, I guess. But my thing was always one of two things, and that would be I would either, like, say I was running a V carve tool path, so I'd have like a 60-degree V bit in, and then the next I'm carving some text or whatever, and then the next tool path would be like a 1/4 inch end mill that I'm just going to use to part it out or something. Well, my big boo boos would always be I'd either forget to switch the bit out, and I'd load the new program, re-zero the Z and all that stuff, but I would forget to change the bit out.
mm,
And again, you remember it in about 0.23 seconds when when you hear that thing and you realize you've just messed up however much time you spent
yep.
that first bit. And of course, the other thing is I'll remember to change the bit out, but I get so excited to get it going again because I think, man, this is going to turn out great, that I forget to load the next program. So I rerun, for example, if it's a 60-degree V bit, I run the V carve text or whatever it's doing, and then I forget to load the program, but I switch the bit out, put the 1/4 inch end mill in, hit the Z, hit the Z, get it all set perfect, and then first thing it does is mess up something in the text or whatever because I forgot to
Makes all
load
your
the.
nice V-bit lettering into Comic Sans.
Yeah, exactly, and so that's it. It seems to me like it's always one of those two things, but and I used to do it pretty frequently when I was new at this, and then I was pretty good there for a while. But now I'm getting so old and forgetful that I really have to slow down, and I can't have anybody else in the shop. If anybody else is in the shop and I'm talking, trying to, they're asking me questions or something like that, you can bank on it. I'm going to screw something up because I have to be alone in my thoughts
Yep.
and really keep track of what I'm doing these days. So,
Heck yeah. Hey, um, wrong thing here. Earl, um, just to let you know, buddy, I was waiting for one person to give me their address that they didn't give me their address originally. And been having some problems getting a hold of that. So you'll be getting that voucher pretty soon. So I'm just gonna send it in to them, and well, I'll deal with the last person later, whenever they
okay.
get back to me.
Yeah. So anyway, one thing you can do, and I know a lot of people that have done this, and especially when you're first starting out, is a good old checklist. Just write down. Yeah, I saw auto tool changer. I'd probably
Yeah.
still forget to change the program. Uh,
Well, no, you run it as a continuous thing, and it'll just go pick it up
yeah,
and go.
I guess I would
Yeah, and
just
if
have
you would
one.
have joined the Gatton Christmas Challenge this year, you would have had a chance of winning an automatic
Oh
tool
wow.
changer.
Okay.
Steven won that one.
Oh well. I guess I would. But
Next
you
year.
got to have a spindle, and I don't have a spindle. I'd have to put it on the Avid, I guess. But
What assembly table needs a tool
yeah,
changer?
yeah, my little assembly table over there.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you create a checklist, of course, one of the first things that should be on the top of your list is when you first start at the machine, what should you do? Home it.
Yep.
Assuming you have limit switches, you should always send it home because when you come out and just flip the switch and turn it on, the machine doesn't have any idea where it's at.
Oh,
So,
look at that. Sorry to interrupt you. We got Steve from Ventari's workshop. He says hello from CES. He's out there in
oh,
Vegas right now. He and the
sweet.
Clack Shack.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw they were going to be out there.
Yeah.
Welcome, Steve. Tell
They
everyone
need.
hello for us out there at the CES. Find out all the latest scoop and report back.
Yep. Yep.
Looking
And,
forward
and
to it.
and Steve, you need to make sure that Clack gets a picture with one of those humanoid robots that's out there.
Ah, yeah,
They're
yeah,
really creepy. They look like people.
yeah. All right. So the first thing you want to put on your list probably is to home it.
Moment.
Now, another thing that this is kind of weather related here. If your shop is not heated and it's really cold, it might not be a bad idea to keep just some kind of a program. It doesn't really have to be a real program, but just make something up where, and I used to do this all the time with my old sidewinders, but I would have a program that I could load up and run. And all it did, it really didn't drop the Z and hit the table or anything. It would just move everything. The Z would go up and down a little bit, but I would just run everything around, just kind of loosen everything up since it's, if it's really cold. Now, if you've got a climate controlled shop, well, then you probably won't have to worry about that. But if you're out there in a cold shop, um, that might not be a bad idea rather than just try to run some long program right from the get go without getting everything warmed up good.
Yeah.
Another thing you might want to put on your list, now this may seem a little silly, but you'd be surprised how many people might forget this, and that is to secure the workpiece. Get the workpiece where you want. There's been a lot of times I've thrown a workpiece on the table, pull the clamps up, start clamping it down, and realize I need to loosen something up to move it just a smidge. So I do that, and then guess what? I forget to tighten that clamp back. And
Oh yeah.
again, there's nothing worse than seeing that thing hit right in the middle of your workpiece and see the workpiece
So you start
move with it
moving.
because it's like, ah. But so yeah, you might want to put that on your checklist. Secure the workpiece. The tooling, always make sure you check that you've got the right bit in for the right program. That would be something to put on your checklist. And as I mentioned earlier, you want to make sure you have the correct program loaded. Sometimes when you got a bunch of different tool paths, it might be easy to get them mixed up. I usually, when I do mine, I number them 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, and I know that 1 is the first one, and then I'll either look in the program or on VCar Pro over here or whatever to make sure I know which tool I need to have in there. Also, when you're loading the correct program, another thing that you might want to do, and I don't know, let's see if I can get this camera. Let's see what I can do here. Now I'm going to show you on these offline controllers here.
Up a little more. There you go.
Okay. And we'll switch to that one. If I can find that camera, I think it's, no, I get the wrong one. Nope, that's not it. There we go. All right, so when you load your program in, you know how you can, well, I've already got this one in. We'll generate the tool path, and I'd already done this a while ago, so that's why it said it couldn't see it. But if you hit this, now you can always see where the little yellow crosshair is. Is that showing up, Ryan?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. So I can tell at a glance there that the workpiece datum, or the work 0, is in the lower left-hand corner. And another way to tell that is to look right here, because you see you have X minimum is 0, the X max is 94.033 millimeters. Y minimum is 0, Y max is 21.998 millimeters. And of course the Z, that's another thing you can tell. The minimum is minus 0.5. The max is 5 millimeters. So just from that information right there, that tells me that even without looking, see where that crosshair is, when the X min and the Y minimum is 0, I know that the 0 in the program was at the lower left-hand corner. And then with the Z minimum at minus 0.5, then I know that the Z was probably probed at the top of the material. Because if it was on the machine bed, this would say Z minimum and it would be 0. It would be the machine bed. Mm-hmm. So that's another good thing to get in the habit of doing, is to checking that and making sure, because if you pull up a program, and I don't know if I have any other ones in here that would do it, we'll look and see. Okay, let's see if it. Okay, now if you look at this one, you can see the crosshair is in the middle. And again, right here, if you know how to interpret this information right here, you can tell if you've got your 0 set with your machine to match what's in your program. So in here, you can see that the X min is minus 162 and some change. The X max is 162 and some change. So that is a dead giveaway that your 0 is set in the middle. And here again, this is what I was talking about. The Z max is 35 and some change millimeters, but the Z minimum is 0. So that means that this program, the Z0 was set on the machine bed and not at the top of the material, because that does make a big difference when you hit cycle start. It makes a big difference. So that's another thing. Not only make sure you got the correct program loaded, but make sure that you have your Z set on your machine to match the way you program it, because it don't work the other way if you don't. Okay, another thing put on your checklist, of course, is to set the X, Y, and Z. However you do that, with these little Nemo Labs machines, I like to use the little pendant, because you can really dial it in and get it. Most of the stuff I run, if you're running something that's going to have a frame around it, a skeleton, you can get it close with eyeball, at least your X and Y, because it's not going to matter. You're cutting it inside a frame. But if you've got a piece that's cut exactly to the size you want, and you're not going to part it out, and you're going to put some text or something in it, and you want it to look as centered as possible, well, then you want to take a little more time to get your X and Y right in the center of that material. And then, of course, when you set your Z with the probe, make sure that if you're going to probe it off the top of material, make sure that that's how you did it in the program and not the machine bed, because you won't get good results at all if you if you don't have that right. Let's see. I might be done with my little list. Can you think of anything else that would warrant being on a checklist?
No,
Before
not
we start
really.
up?
Yeah, it's yeah, I think you hit all the major stuff.
I guess a couple of other things that I can think of off the top of my head. It's not really a problem with these NEMA Labs machines, assuming that I have not flipped the switch on the router,
Oh yeah,
because it is controlled by the software. So
yeah,
you don't have to worry about remembering to turn that on. But if you have a machine like a homemade machine or something, and you're just running a regular old router and it's not controlled by the software, that's the other thing you got to remember to do before you hit cycle start. Make sure you turn that thing on, because those little sharp spinny things don't
they
like
need
it
to
when they're
spin.
not spinning. They'll sometimes they'll cut, but it won't be pretty.
Yep.
It's more of a gouge than a cut. But so that's another thing. Depending on the type of your machine, like I said, all the machines I have now. Well, I do have my Sidewinder out there around back in the shop, and it's still running the old. What have I got on that thing now? I think I'm running a DeWalt.
690
No, not a no. That's Porter Cable six.
or
What's the DeWalt one? 611 or
yeah, the
something
611.
like that. Whatever their small one is comparable to that. So I do have to turn it on because I don't have anything software controlled with that one. So, and that's another issue too, is if you're like me and you have more than one CNC, and there are differences with how they operate. When you get ready to run one, you got to go, okay, let's see. I'm on this one. The router starts automatically, so I'm good. You know, if I'm out in the other shop, I got to go, oh, wait a minute. I got to make sure I turn this on. Same thing with dust collection. If you're running dust collection, of course, you'll probably realize after a few minutes and you start seeing dust all over your table, you'll probably realize that you forgot to turn your shop back on or whatever you're using for dust
Yeah.
collection. Yeah, that's the one I was. That's the one I think I have on there now. I used to run that old Porter Cable 690, but that thing is so loud, and it's in my shop around back that you know it's really loud inside there because it's not that small or not that big. So, but anyway, all right. Has anybody else in the chat got anything that that they can think of that would be on a
Also, what's on my
checklist?
old X carb? Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I think everybody was running the DeWalt's on that when they were out and about a long time ago.
Yeah, unless they went with that first little dinky DC motor they put on there. I don't even remember what they called that one,
Yeah,
but yeah, that one was pretty small. I think pretty much everybody pretty quickly upgraded to the DeWalt or one of
and
those bigger.
now it's the Makita.
Yeah, yeah.
Since I don't think they make the 611 anymore, do they? Isn't that why everybody switched to doing the Makitas? It was because they got rid of the 611.
I don't know if they still make them or not. I know Porter cables are hard to find. I don't think they're making those anymore. Um, and the Makita's a good little router.
Yeah,
Uh, although it is, let me think a minute. I'm pretty sure the Makita is 65 millimeters diameter, and the DeWalt is a 69, I think. Because I know the DeWalt and a Porter Cable 450, which I happen to have one of those, and it looks exactly like the DeWalt except for the color. And then the only other difference is it doesn't have the variable speed. It's just a on or off type thing.
Yeah.
But both of those are the 69 millimeter diameter bodies, and I'm pretty sure the Makita. I keep looking over here because I thought I had one sitting over there somewhere, but it may be. Let me look. I thought for sure I had one over here. Oh yeah, there it is.
Womp, womp, womp.
Yeah, this is the. I can never remember the number on this one because it's got a real crazy number. It's RT0701C, but
Yeah.
it's the variable speed, and I think.
It's a 65 mil.
Okay, yeah, I was pretty sure it's just slightly smaller
Yeah.
than the DeWalt. The DeWalt, and then of course I always say Porter Cable 450, and I don't think anybody knows what I'm talking about because I think I'm the only one that ever bought one. I never see anybody that has one other than me, but they are 69 millimeter.
Fun stuff. Oh man. My biggest tip to a new person that's just starting to run their CNC though, get some foam. Get a piece of that pink foam from Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, and make your first cuts on that. And so you're not dive bombing brand new bits and stuff into, wood or whatever it is. The foam cuts so easy that you run it a couple times just into that and as practice, and you don't really have to worry about hurting something.
Yeah, yeah. And then when you think you're ready to try wood, get something cheap like the fence pickets or
Yeah,
you know pallet wood, something like that.
yeah. Don't make your first project out of black walnut.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
Paley or something like that.
yeah. That's a recipe for disaster.
Oh, Jerry says he printed your adapter from the 69 to 65 a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, when I had those SainSmart Genmitsu, I had the um 4040 Pro, and then after that, I had the 4040 Reno.
Yep.
And with those, I had they sell a 69 and a 65 mount.
And
But
yeah.
to me, it didn't make sense to have to buy both of them. Just buy the 69 and 3D print a little sleeve is all it is, because all you got to do is take up that little bit of gap, and then you can run a smaller router in the same 69 millimeter mount. So Clyde says, I smoked one router V-bit buried in oak smoke, put a panic button for the router. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't take much, and especially when you start using some more expensive bits and stuff, whew.
Yeah. Well, that's as long as I've been doing this CNC thing, I've always told people, uh, especially the new people when you're starting out, don't think you got to go gangbusters to get, there's no race to get the project done.
Yep.
Set all your feeds and speeds very conservative. You know, if somebody tells you that you can cut that with a quarter inch depth of cut, you start with a 16. Because you never know. They might be experienced and have a different machine than you, and it might be more rigid or whatever. Just because somebody else says they can do it doesn't mean you should do it. So
Yep.
always start out conservative with your feeds and speeds, because you can always make it go faster and deeper. But if you started out that way from the get go, you may not have time to slow it down before something gives.
Bits are not self-healing.
Yeah, and it's a lot. Another thing, a lot of people in some of the Facebook groups and stuff, you'll see people tell new people, go buy the little cheap Amazon bits and break all those when you're starting out and all that. And I kind of can go along with that to a point, but also, when you buy the crummy bits and you get crummy performance, it might kind of turn you off a little bit about, running your CNC. So you just got to remember, you get what you pay for. So
Yeah.
if you want to buy the good bits, just treat them with a little care and respect, and don't try to just plow into stuff to start with. Maybe it will plow into stuff eventually, but until you know what you're doing, just take it slow and easy.
Yeah. Kenneth says that's what he did on the 150. He got the 80 millimeter mount and then 3D printed the shim for the 65 millimeter Makita. Nice.
Yeah, yeah. I tell you, 3D printers are just
They're a workshop tool.
they are. They are. I have had so much fun. Well, even with the little Ender 3s, it was fun learning about 3D printing. And you know me, I have a pet peeve for all the guys that make all that silly crap. That I get in trouble when I talk about making the silly trinkets and figurines and all that stuff. I'm not into that. But when you use it for useful stuff, shop tools and fixtures and templates and all that kind of thing, they are just, you know, once you have one, you'll never want to do without one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I made this yesterday. This is for my golf cart. It's a, there's a, heaven forbid a golf cart have a place for golf balls. I don't play golf. So this is a thing that pops into its place so you have a container instead of the golf ball plate.
oh, cool.
Yeah.
All
Pretty
right,
useful.
Andy, welcome to the podcast. I don't know that I've seen your name in here before, but he says, super glue aerosol accelerator fumes make my heart race. I stopped using it and the super glue still works.
Yep.
You know, I have I use a lot of super glue for different things. Not so much for hold downs. Occasionally I do. Uh, but just in general for a lot of little projects, I use a lot of super glue. And I've got a can of and I think I bought a big rattle can of it, the accelerator stuff. And I don't even like to use that stuff. Like he says, the fumes from it stink. I know they're not good, if you get them blown back in your face or something. So I just don't like to use it. And even when I am using the old, talking about hold downs, if you're using the old painter's tape and CA glue method,
Mm-hmm.
I like to use a medium CA glue and no accelerator. because that way you've got, because you don't really, when you use the accelerator, you pretty much got to nail it when you set it down. You got
Yeah.
just a second or two, and that's it. And I never get it straight on the first try. So I like to use the medium without any accelerator. That way I've got a little bit of working time, still not a whole lot, but really the stuff don't start setting good until you kind of put some pressure on it. It seems like when you put pressure on it, that's what makes it set.
Hmm.
So I like to use the medium, no accelerator, even though it might take me 30 seconds longer before I start. But yeah, in fact, I might as well just throw away my accelerator because I don't ever use that stuff. I just don't like using it. Big Al says they're awesome for printing templates. Yes, they are. It is one of the many, many uses of a 3D printer. And I think they at least these days they kind of go hand in hand with the CNC. I've noticed somebody. I don't know if they're out there in the chat or not. Probably not. But somebody had posted a picture of their NEMA Labs machine. They just received it and got it put together, and took a picture of it, posted on Facebook, and then I could tell just to the left, I could tell there was a diode laser. So I asked him about it. He said, "Yeah, I got a 20-watt diode laser." And see, all three of those things, a 3D printer, a diode laser, and a CNC router of some kind, just all three of them make great tools that can kind of complement each other in your different things. Because it'd be so easy to, if you run in some kind of project, maybe it's something you're selling, coasters or who knows what, you can always flip them over and stick them on your little diode laser and put your branding on the back, quick and easy.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Jerry, I wasn't exactly aiming that comment at you, but you're gonna own up to it. Jerry makes some cool stuff. I got to say, it may be what I would call useless, but still, when you see that, what is that thing you got, Jerry? Xenomorph or something like that? It's
oh yeah, the alien.
7 foot tall or something like that. I'm like, all right, Dan. If you're gonna make useless stuff, let's go big. Let's do it.
Make something cool.
And he always makes lots of cool helmets and stuff too. Jerry's he's quite the craftsman when it comes to the 3D printing stuff.
Oh yeah.
Just poking a little fun at you, Jerry.
Oh.
But I just that I like to make stuff that brackets, different kinds of stuff like that. That's just you kind of just stumble onto it by accident. You're doing something and you go, man, I need something that's kind of shaped like this, and then it's like, oh, wait a minute, I got a 3D printer. So you just sit down, spend about 2 minutes to draw it, send it to the printer, boom, shakalaka, and there it is. And it's just so cool to be able to do that kind of manufacturing.
Well, all three just they work so well together because they all have their strong points and weak points. And by having all three, you can really make or do anything you want.
Big Al says that I should see his Klingon ships. See, the bad thing is I'm totally ignorant to all that stuff. I've never watched Star Wars, Star Trek, any of that stuff. So when people talk about that stuff, I'm like, I have no clue what they're talking about. I tell you one thing though that I think I'm probably going to make, and I guess it could fall into that useless category of 3D prints. But when I was a kid, and I know what you're thinking, way back then, way back then. But when I was a kid, I used to put together a lot of model cars, model airplane. I used to put together model airplanes and have them, get some thread and hang them from the ceiling and stuff.
Yep.
Uh, but I had and I don't remember what scale it was. It was, I suppose it probably stood at least a couple of feet tall. But I had a model of the Saturn V rocket with the Apollo, the whole thing, the whole
Yeah.
rocket, and it even had the little lunar module and all that stuff. And I thought that was pretty cool. Well, of course, nowadays with the technology of 3D printing, I've seen guys that have one, and there's one I've already got it downloaded. I just haven't got ready to run it because I know it's going to take a while. There's a lot of parts, but there's one that's about, I don't know, it's about 6 foot tall, I think, by
Wow.
the time you get done. And even the lunar module, and I don't know how they do this, but whoever designed it, kudos to them. But they design it where the legs fold up so that you can display it either in the little, whatever that section is, right below the command module. Or if you want to display it, the legs fold out and you can display it. And I think there's even a little section with craters on it to look like the moon that you can print out to display the lunar
Wow.
module there. So, but I was always a big fan of all that space stuff. Um, I guess growing up in Indiana, one of the big people back then was Gus Grissom. There's a Air Force base named after him in Indiana. So unless they changed the name, I don't know whether they did. I guess they did, but it used to be Grissom Air Force Base. But anyway, I liked all the space stuff back then. Not Star Wars and Star Trek and
Real
all
space.
that space stuff. The other space stuff.
Did you ever go visit the set in Arizona?
I
Where
have
they
not.
did the moon landing? Just kidding.
Well,
That's-
I would love to think that we really went there, but because of the past, I don't know, decade or two, we've been lied to so much about everything else. It's almost like, well, I wouldn't put it past them to do it. I mean,
yeah.
we know they made promotional videos from that set. And see, that's what they try to say whenever somebody points out something that's fake. They go, oh, well, that was just from the promotional stuff we did. But when you really think about it, I mean, if we really went to the moon, we went to the moon with the technology of less than a 286 computer. you know, it's scary. I
Yeah.
mean, would you want to be in a command module and know they had that kind of 1969 computer power, and now we've got more computer
Yeah.
horsepower right here than
Yep.
what they had to go to the moon. So I don't know.
Those guys carry their cojones around in wheelbarrows. So,
Yeah, for sure. But anyway, that's going to be my one little thing where I print something
sweet.
just kind of useless. Like I
Yeah.
said, it's a popular file. Um, I guess it was on Thingiverse because I don't remember paying anything for it. I think it was a free download. But I've watched several videos where guys show it, and they show all the different stages and all of that stuff. And then one guy, he used uh, I don't know if it was a P1S, but it was some kind of a printer with an an AMS of some kind, so he didn't have to paint anything. It was all just done with the different colors filaments, and that's my way of doing things. I like using different color filaments and then gluing stuff together if I have to.
Sweet.
Big Al says it was 0.043 megahertz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Well, those were the days.
Craziness.
But,
Crazy.
anyway, well, I guess we'll wrap this show up. I'm finally getting warm. My heat's running over there, and I did move a mat over here to stand on because that concrete is just so cold. But anyway, has anybody got anything to add? I see Earl's talking about got a big Gatton 64 by 58 CNC machine, a 40K Monport, and the Bamboo 3D. Soon
As
a Nemo filling his shop. Yeah, now we're talking.
Yeah, Earl won the one of the prizes that Earl got was the $400 off of either 50/40 or 60/40.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, I will tell you now, we talked about this on last year on the last show we did. If you get a rotary axis, whack that sucker in half. Unless Nemo Labs is going to start shipping them that way. They can put them in the exact same box with just about that much material missing from the middle of that plate.
Yep.
Just put a horizontal bandsaw and cut that sucker in half. And then you can really
stretch it out.
That's what I was going to have set up today, but I've been busy today with some other things. I didn't get a chance to do it. But about as far as I've got is I've got some pieces of wood over there that I got to get glued up, but they're about 15 inches long versus the 7 inches that it used to be before. But yeah, I was gonna have something set up on that. And of course, we've got some holidays. If you guys are Etsy sellers or any of that kind of stuff, we've got Halloween coming, or not Halloween, Valentine's Day coming up, which that's coming up real quick. That's only about a month off. So if you hadn't already started doing Valentine's stuff, you're probably already behind. And then after Valentine's, we've got St. Patty's Day. That's probably not as big a deal depending on where you live. If you're in Boston or maybe Savannah, Georgia, that's probably a big deal. Do you some St. Patty's stuff. And then, of course, right after that, in April, we have Easter. So lots of stuff to do for Easter. Let's see, what do we got in May? Really nothing in May, I don't think. Oh, wait. May's Mother's Day, right?
Yeah.
May's Mother's Day. And then, that's right, Earl. Cut that sucker in half.
Make sure you put Dave's code in there too.
Oh, yeah. I haven't even shown that, but it's down below in the description here. Anybody's watching, make sure you use that link to get an extra 10% off of whatever you order off the website. But yeah, what was I saying now? So yeah, I'm getting old and I forget mid-sentence. I don't even remember what it was.
Awesome.
But anyway, I guess we'll get ready to wrap this thing up. We've been on here just about an hour. I appreciate all the folks that tuned in and watched. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on the way out. And feel free to come back and leave a comment if you haven't already.
Oh yeah, I was talking about maybe buying another CNC too. He said it's tempting to get a new one, and then
Al, you can take it from me. You can't have too many CNCs.
yeah,
I currently have, and I'm just talking about the ones that I could go start up and run right now. I have, well, CNC routers. I have 4 of them. I have a lot more than that, but they're in pieces. Some of them are in pieces. But yeah, I'm a collector of CNCs. Uh, and then of course, when you start talking about the other kind of CNC equipment, diode lasers and good old
CO2 lasers.
CO2 laser and all that, and then of course 3D printers. Uh, I got it all, so very happy to have it all. So anyway, I guess we'll get on out of here. I hope if there's anybody new watching, I hope you got some pointers out of making a checklist. And like I said, I know some people that started out, made a checklist, and then they'd hang it up somewhere, you know, like on the back wall where they can see it all the time. And then they get to where they don't need to look at it, but they don't take it down. It's still, I've had people that say, well, send me a picture and go, yeah, here's my checklist. And they actually engraved on a piece of wood a checklist and have it hanging someplace so that they can remember. And that doesn't hurt anything to do. But I can tell you, unless you're like me and real forgetful, once you do it a few times, it all kind of falls in line and you remember to do it. But when you get old like me, you forget stuff and get easily distracted, and it still hurts just as bad when you screw something up. It doesn't feel any better just because you've done it 100 times before. So, but anyway, all right. Well, Ryan, you got anything else to add before we get out of here?
Nope. See you guys on Saturday, hopefully.
Yeah,
Make sure you hit the thumbs up.
I'll be tuning in. I can't wait to see what videos you're going to be talking about.
There's been some good ones over the last 2 weeks.
Oh, I know. Well, that's how I get all my good stuff now. Sometimes when you show something, I go, oh yeah, I was already watching it. I've already seen it. But a lot of times I'm like, it'll be somebody I hadn't even heard of.
Yeah.
And then I go watch them and I'm like, yeah, there's some good stuff there. So
takes a lot of time to go watch that much YouTube, find some decent stuff.
I bet it does. But I appreciate you showing off them other channels, and I'm sure they appreciate it too. So, all right, well, I guess we're going to get out of here if I can manage to hit the right button. Let's see if I got it. Oh, I always forget this one. But yeah, if you haven't already, join the NEMA Lab CNC user group. There's a QR code. Hit that, and it'll take you right to their Facebook group. Check that out. I can't get off of here now. Okay, we're going to do.
Yeah, Jerry, I like the alt mill too.
Yeah, that's been a good little machine from what I've seen. I think it might be maybe putting a dent in one of the others, because that other one seems to be having some problems a lot here lately. I don't know. I know a Facebook group is always full of people that are looking for help and stuff, but it seems like there's an awful lot of issues with that new controller and stuff they got. But the alt mill seems to be working really well. So kudos to the boys at CNC Labs. All right, well, I've got the right outro button here, got my finger on the trigger, so let's all wave and say goodnight and go watch Ryan on Saturday night, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.